we're only 11 games into the Premier League season, but title talk has already begun. And after watching Man City power past Liverpool in such emphatic fashion, Stephen, where do you think both teams are now at present in the pursuit of the title in comparison to leaders Arsenal?
I would love to read the messages in the Arsenal WhatsApp group. I, how do you ignore that? And I know it's all contextual. I know Arsenal will believe in themselves, and I know footballers are inherently confident people. How do you ignore that feeling, that sneaking suspicion of doubt, or that feeling of here we go again? It might lead to nothing. But if I was Arsenal, if I was Phil Foden, and I was Nico Riley, and I was at training in England this week with Declan Rice, I'd be like, "You're right, Declan. How you doing, mate? Did you see us yesterday? We were pretty good, weren't we?" Like, and how do you not start to think? City, man, here we go again. And the second you feel that, because I saw some Arsenal fans feeling that, I saw some Arsenal fans tweet, like, I don't want another title race with City, and that's PTSD, like there's a definitely traumatic shock disorder thing going on for some of these fans. And look, Arsenal are brilliant, and at some point they're probably going to win the league, and they might even win it this season, probably will still. But there's a very obviously a side building towards something here. And Guardiola sides always, 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 always are better in the second half of the season. Just because the inherent nature of what he does requires time. Guardiola, he tweaks his side, he tries new ideas, and then he works out what doesn't work, and he tries new ideas, and until he gets the full picture around January, February, and at that point he knows what this side can do. He knows what his side can't do. It's every single season, unless you've got a special season like the Centurions where it all just clicked and they couldn't keep up with you. But largely, Guardiola sides go on this ridiculous end of season run where they just know who they are. And they have that, that intensity, and it works. And the fear, if I was Arsenal, the fear would be that Arsenal started off really strongly, and then they dropped points to a newly promoted side. I know it's a very good newly promoted side, but it's a side that they would have felt if you asked them a month or two ago, you should beat Sunderland. They go, yeah, of course. And they've been really good, Sunderland, and of course it was a last minute equaliser. But that's how it happens. It's these little games where you get a little bit of a lucky at the end, and they score a late equaliser, and then you see your title rivals, a side that's been apparently underwhelming but starting to find some form, put on a masterclass and beat the champions 3-0 at home. Like, you can't help but notice that. You must feel that because football, at the highest level, football is so psychological. Of course, like I know quality, tactics, and all that come into it. But often, if you've got two great sides, the one that's more confident and wants it, they tend to win. Like it really is that simple. And I think we've got a welcome to the Etihad still. I fancy, I don't actually know when that is, to be honest. I don't think it's anytime soon. Let me just double
Well, I
check when
think
that
it's
is.
next year, I think, in 2026.
Yeah, I don't actually
Yeah,
know when it is. Let me just double check. But yeah, when they've got to come here still. They'll know that. They'll know that the City side will get better. It's perfect. It's April,
right.
mid-April,
Yeah.
which is absolutely perfect. It was around mid-April in the treble season when
Mm.
it was like when you about 4 or 5 games left when they came with City beating 4-1, wasn't it?
4-1, yeah. Haaland got
Yeah,
his
and we
record-breaking
utterly
goal. Yeah.
battered them, and they were looking brilliant. And it was just that was a relentlessly aggressive performance. So April, there's no way the City side isn't better by then. The only way they're not is if something catastrophic happen, severe injuries to multiple players or whatever. And at that point, anyway, touch wood, it will happen. But there's nothing you can do with that. If you lose Haaland, Donnarumma, Diaz, Nico Gonzalez, and Phil Foden to severe injury, then you just write the season off. That's just bad luck. There's nothing you can do at that point. But presuming that doesn't happen, there's only be 5 league games after that left after the Arsenal game, and City play Burnley, Everton, Brentford, Bournemouth, Villa. That's a very winnable bunch of games there. With the last 3 games of the season for City in the league are at home. City, sorry, no, that's not right. I apologise. This Brentford, then Bournemouth away, then Villa at home. Villa at home again. That rings a bell, doesn't it? So I don't know, man. I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling confident, but I also sort of don't care in a nice way because I tweeted last night. I'm just really enjoying this side. Like my expectations have been sort of confused and a bit muddled this season. I don't really know what to expect. What I do know is that I think this is a very good side. It's going to impress people. They're going to do something very exciting this year. I don't know what it'll be or what competition, or it might not be that it leads to anything. But I think they're going to do a few things that are going to impress people. And could that lead to a trophy? Leeds, I don't rule it out because I don't think we're going to see a lot better from Arsenal, but I think we're going to see a lot better from Man City. So we'll see.
Yeah, and Guardiola stated after that win against Liverpool that City's performance against the Reds proved that they are ready to challenge for the title again. And do you think now, from
100%.
having seen that performance and what you've seen from this new look City squad. There's been a lot of change, obviously, in 2025 with this squad. Do you think you've seen enough now to suggest that City can seriously challenge for top spot?
Why not? Like, why not? We are, well, we're currently sat second in the league, and we're only 4 points behind the apparent champions elect, and look, we've had a tumultuous start, and I think that's not a tumultuous, a patchy start is the way I put it. Like, a decent start, then really bad couple of results, and then really good run, and then a bad result, and then three great wins in a row this week. 10 goals and two conceded in against Villarreal, Bournemouth, and Liverpool. Just really good sides. Villarreal were third in the league at the time, I think. Bournemouth were second, I think, weren't they, when they played us?
Yep.
They've dropped down to their ninth now. It shows the craziness of the table. And then, of course, Liverpool, the champions, and they could have been where we are, or at least third in the league if they'd won this game as well. So yeah, I no, they would have been where we are. They would have been ahead of us. So like, yeah, it's an incredible week. And look, Guardiola would be stupid to say that a team sat 4 points behind Arsenal with Manchester City's heritage and quality wouldn't challenge for the title. Like, it'd be almost a dereliction of duty of him to say that, because you have to go from this point. Like, you have to capture that lightning in a bottle. And like, this City side right now is electric. It's not perfect. Like electric, it just sort of flits out in every direction of thunder. But the point is, it is bright, it is sparkling right now, this City side. And Guardiola will try and hone that towards something, because it is a bit erratic, it is a bit all over the place, but it's full of vigor. It's so fun to watch, and it's got frightening potential. I really do believe, like, when you put it all together, you could have a side there. And bear in mind as well, Kusanov was so important in that impressive week. At Napoli, United, Arsenal, he's not been on the pitch. Rodri to come back. You've still got the experience of Stones and Ake and people like that. Marmoush is barely touching the pitch at the moment. He's on the 30-goal a season player last year in all competitions. And then, Oscar Bob on the bench as well. Savinho's there. Kovacic, if he gets, I don't know if he's going to play, but if he comes back, there's a lot of experience, is what I'm getting at. James Trafford's probably the best backup goalkeeper in the league. There is an awful lot of quality there. And Eight Nouri's not even mentioned Eight Nouri, who signed him as one of the best fullbacks in the league, and he can't even get minutes because of a young lad who's a midfielder who's now one of the best left backs in the league. There's a lot of room for improvement, is what I'm getting at, and I think you can channel that and push it towards hopefully something pretty exciting.
Yeah, exactly. And Guardiola has also said that, no one can win the title in November, but you can lose it. And who knows, Liverpool now may be in that position where they could be, because they've lost five of the last six games. So people are asking the question, are Liverpool out of the title race? I mean, for me, they're probably not from a points perspective, because we're only 11
Yeah,
games in, but from a performance level, you have to say yes at the moment, because they just simply aren't performing well enough to compete, really, and that's a huge boost, isn't it, for both City and Arsenal, that the champions are slipping up in quite alarming fashion at the moment.
I've read this book 1,000 times, and look, I know the immediate counter would be, but City have dropped off and they come back again. Differences was Guardiola. The difference was consistency. It's very, 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 very hard to win the league 2 years in a row. It's incredibly hard. Like, I think what Guardiola has achieved at Manchester City sort of shows the standards, because we see a lot of good managers, but we see very few great managers. And well, Guardiola's more than great; he's an all-timer. But great managers have the ability to make teams, win leagues back to back. We saw, as City fans, we saw Mancini and Pellegrini win the league. They're not great managers; they're good managers. And they're capable of doing what I think Slot's probably very similar quality to those guys, where he's a good manager and maybe a very good manager, but I don't think he's a great one. And maybe I'm being presumptuous there, but I just don't get the feeling that he has the strength of personality, and it is that, and the ingenuity and the dedication. Not dedication, that's not the right word. Maybe yeah, just the drive that rubs off on people. I mean, once again, it's probably just a character thing, but I don't think he has that quality, overall quality in the bigger picture, to drag players along again, to do it 2 years in a row. I might be wrong there, and that might come back to bite me, but just my gut instinct is telling me he isn't Klopp, he isn't Guardiola. I know Klopp didn't do it 2 years in a row, but he got remarkable levels of consistency out of that side, and they were very unlucky not to win 2 or 3 leagues in a row. The only reason they didn't is because they came up against the greatest side in English history, and that's well, I think that's a fact. I can't prove it, but point statistically, it is a fact in my opinion. So, a fact in my opinion, whatever that means. But yeah, I think Liverpool right now, they're 8 points off the top. It's very obvious to me that they've climbed that mountain, and I don't know if they have the will to go again. I don't know. There's too many players who are coasting there. I was really, really, really um, shocked about how poor a couple of their players were. Van Dijk in particular, that guy was switched off. Like the lazy leg at the Gonzalez goal, or just flicked it out. Salah just that's not Salah. That's just not the old conquering Salah, and a lack of hunger and energy from that side. And these are the champions against Manchester City, and it makes you wonder. And this is a lazy bit of analysis, but I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. It makes you wonder. Did Slot win it because it was Klopp's side? To an extent. Like he played Klopp's players with Klopp's tactics and slight tweaks, but it was largely a Klopp performance. And nice little season start to him, and they only got about 83 points, something like that, wasn't it? It was quite a low tally in the end, and the levels were there was no real challenge from anyone because everyone dropped off big time, and it just yeah, I do wonder if he can go again. I don't care, obviously, as a City fan, but I'm not feeling it. I think you can't lose five of your first 11 games in the league and expect to win the league again. It's the standards are all over the place. They've got like a 50%, just below, but like it's 50-50 they're going to win a game when we look at their form this season. Like, that's just not good enough for anyone who wants to be champions. And City, Liverpool, Arsenal right now, and even Chelsea, they just look way ahead of them. So I don't see it right now. My hot take anyway is that Slot never wins another trophy with Liverpool. That's my hot take, and I'm going to put it on camera. So.